Hari Om and welcome to all the divine Atmajyotis to today's Bhagavadgita satsang. Let us continue our contemplation of the fifth chapter shlokas. Right now we are on the 15th shloka, and the shloka says, Sri Krishna is saying here, the omnipresent God does not involve himself in the sinful or virtuous deeds of anyone. The living entities are deluded because their inner knowledge is covered by ignorance. This is what Sri Krishna is saying in this shloka. Based on that, the questions that have been framed are primarily on ignorance. What is ignorance? Is ignorance affected by gunas? Is there a measure for ignorance? If so, how can we measure? Then, does not doing any action, inaction, does it lead to ignorance? Is ignorance a bliss or mess? So, like that, we framed questions on ignorance. Then we also framed questions on connection between ego and ignorance. We asked, is ego and ignorance related? If it is so, how are they related? And how to use them, or should I use the ego and ignorance, or should I discard them? Is the related question on the ego and ignorance. Then related to this, because Sri Krishna is talking about both sinful and virtuous, is there a list of it? And is sattva guna gateway to get rid of the ignorance? So these are the various questions that we have framed on what is Sri Krishna is saying. So now we can begin our contemplation. Would Krishna ji like to go first?
Yeah. First of all, ignorance is fundamentally, it is like we are ignorant of who we are truly, and that is that. That's how I'm referring ignorance as, in a way, like i- initially before the spirituality or Bhagavad Gita. So I was been like any decision making or any action was taken based on my body and the current feel and the situation I've been there. But but here, once after joining this spirituality path, so I had a different thought, a different perspective of looking at what is actually ignorance. So then it led to a question like, then who I am, like why I'm doing this. So ignorance is something, to put in one line, one who is unaware of oneself, who he or she is. That is ignorance. And is ignorance affected by gunas? Yeah, because of the gunas and the karma I'm carrying, or one carrying, uh, it affects, and it takes longer time or shorter time to recognize oneself, who one is truly. So based on the gunas, it is there. Is there a measure for ignorance? I don't think so. There is a specific or a common measure which we can, or a scale which we can put on across a person. But the way I see this is like, it is like the number of situations or instances one is getting disturbed, and uh, uh, is more being attached to body and mind. I would say that, like, that is the ignorance. uh, Vijayji, your screen is in browser. Yeah, now it's back. Yeah, for me, there is no measure for a common measure for all people here. But the fundamental measure I look at is like how peaceful I am, and how carefully handle every situation, and in a dharmic way. So that's how I put it. So if so, how we can measure? I told this then. Does any action lead to an ignition? Ignorance. That's not doing any action. Inaction. So again, it depends. Not doing inaction is like something like it need not to be a physical action. So any action, even a breathing and thinking about is, I would call it an action. So there is no inaction here. So every time there is an action and everything is happening in movement. Even now, heart is beating and I'm breathing and I'm talking. So this body always has an action. So obviously it depends. It depends on it is contributing to the ignorance. And ignorance is bliss or mess. Ignorance is a mess, if you ask me, because ignorance is leading to endless repetitive actions in this life. Ego and ignorance related.
So
Ignorance,
fundamentally, you are
yeah,
saying, Krishnaji, ignorance is nothing but not having self-knowledge is ignorance, is what you are saying.
yeah,
Okay.
that's how I'm saying. Ego and ignorance is same. Ego is first of all, ig- both are same. I would say. Ignorance is uh, ego is the one which is causing an ignorance. So we have been wrongly identified with the body and mind, which is completely changing even now and then, and every situation. The way where I look at the same situation now and versus 5 years or 10 years before, it's completely changing. So it's a ego which is getting attached to this body mind, thinking it's me. Then that is leading to an ignorance. They are related, how to use them and how should I discard them. Yeah, I think I've answered that. So ego, first of all, ego is the one which is pointing us or making us wrongly understand about who we are, and which is causing an ignorance, and they
So
are
you are
related.
of the viewpoint that the cause
Mm,
of ignorance is ego.
yeah.
Okay. And what do you feel or think is the cause of ego itself?
It's like now it's an ignorance is leading to ego, and it's like a looping thing, endless loop
Okay.
kind of thing. So fundamentally, I think then I want to rephrase my statement again. Ignorance is the cause because that's where I'm getting wrongly identified with my body, mind, and based on the karma which I carry, and then I'm taking an action. So there the true or a root cause is the ignorance, and which is as a second step causing an ego. Ego is nothing but identified with body and mind, and then doing any actions with a selfish motive. So I would say ignorance is the cause, and which is leading to a ego, and then a lot of undharmic or not dharmic actions. I mean, one is end up doing non-dharmic actions, sins. Is there a list of sinful versus virtuous activity? Yes.
So just to summarize what you just now said, ignorance, the cause of ignorance is, what did you say?
No, I rephrased the sentence.
Yeah.
I'm saying cause of ego is ignorance.
Cause of ego is ignorance. And what
Yeah.
is then the question is, what is the cause of ignorance?
Cause of ignorance. I don't know how to put it.
Okay. So ego comes because of ignorance, is how you are framing it now.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Yeah, please continue.
Is there a list of sinful? Again, this is slightly, I mean, not 100% clear to me. Sinful versus virtual deed. So I'm saying all any actions which is done without selfish motive. uh, it is dharmic way. Again, that action may be to one person may be sinful or virtuous, but if we perform any action in a dharmic way, it is the right way to do. That's how I'm seeing it.
So, are you saying there is no sinful and virtuous deeds?
If we are identified body and mind and then performing a selfish action, yeah, which is leading to a which is causing harm to others, and in many ways to oneself as well. But still I would say that action is an purifying action to give a learning, to understand who one is. So so I was looking at that way. So any action is not sinful or virtuous, but we are in a path to the ultimate of understanding who we are and be in that conscious state. So that is how I'm seeing.
So, during when you are on the spiritual path, we talk in society as right, wrong,
Yeah.
uh, do and don't. Uh, so, why are we then classifying? Is there no reason to classify?
So that happens when one is identified with his body mind, right? So particular, I'm not getting one example right now. Particular scenario or action may be very relevant in a India region or southern place of India, but the same action may not be relevant in China or Korea. Example, eating a meat also, right? So they like to eat, and this is part of their culture. China, they eat. I mean, I've heard of it. I've not really visually seen them, but through the videos only, I'm saying they eat insects and cow and dog. So just a flip when you come to India, that's like we are. I mean, maybe South India or Hinduism practicing people, we see cow as a god, and we do pujas and yeah, that's how we take care of it. So it's again, so it's coming back to the point, sinful and virtuous is based on the, it is due to an ignorance only, and it is changing region by mind, I can say. Where people are grouped in India or even in southern India and even in some culture by language. There are still, again, if we drill down one step down, even in here in Bangalore also there are multiple cultures and people within 100-kilometer radius. Also there are different things which I've seen. Same thing like eating a meat also, and seeing a dog or a cat or any pet, the way they approach and see, one will say it is a harm, and other will say it is written in our book to eat this and that. So it is in the mind, it is because of the ignorance and ego which is having the sinful and virtuous deed. But but coming back to the point, there is none of the action is sinful or virtuous, all the action is divine. There is every action is happening for a reason which is leading to a ultimate final destination to get consciousness. But right now it may be sinful and things, but once we understand that we are ignorant and we are not identified body and mind, and we are consciously making decision, so then we will do a dharmic way of any action. Yeah, so that is how I'm seeing this sinful and virtuous deeds.
Okay.
Sat, yeah, sattva guna, get rid of ignorance. Yeah, that is a way. Sattva guna is like, it's one of the gunas, and like I told just before few seconds. So even other gunas is leading to the ultimate consciousness, but depending on which where we are at which stage. uh, so sattva is more of maybe closer one to the to get rid of ignorance, because in the sattva guna we are practicing all the actions or performing any action which is more closer to the closer to the divine path or to reach the consciousness, I would say.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that's my understanding on this 5.15.
Thank you, Krishnaji.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions to Krishnaji before he's before we listen to Smitaji? Based on what you've heard from Krishnaji, are there any questions to be triggered to Krishnaji? Okay. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Rajita ji.
uh, initially, Krishnaji made one statement. He told that because of ego, ignorance comes. Is that right, Krishnaji?
No, he then changed it. He said, the cause of ego is ignorance.
Cause of ego is ignorance. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So, is the ignorance leads, ignorance makes the person more egoistic. Am I correct, Krishnaji?
Yeah, yeah, that's how I'm seeing. Because once I'm ignorant
But
and
a person with knowledge also has some ego, right? Ego will be there in everyone because antahkarana is comprised of is a mixture of manas, buddhi, ahankara, chitta. So even even in a person who is very knowledgeable, he has the ego.
yeah, but yeah, let me try to answer that. And how will I
Ah,
do this,
yes.
right? So even for me, right? So I will take my example. So my even my I told this particular situation I face, maybe a traffic or like people directly telling me, talking about me bad, or some bad feedbacks coming to me, right? So the way I see earlier, right, before this one, I'm referring the previous period before spirituality, like more ignorant, I would say. So where I was more identified with my body, why, what is wrong with me? I have done this right, logically, everything is right, and uh, the angry level will spike up because of the chitta. I have it right. So that so if someone said same thing, I have faced same situation. So even in my professional work and even in personally also, same or even more slightly worse situation now. But the way I handle the situation, right, still I am having that ego, but still I would not directly I be a rest, I'll not be immediately reactive situations. So so there was ignorance before. Now I'm not ignorant. I would not. I don't know the measure. As I told, I'm completely ego free. But the way I handle the same situation now, even now I have the chitta, but I've unlearned the things. See, if I faced a dog before 5 years, I would run away. I would not even go to that street. But right now, I can go to that street. And I faced a failure or success. I was very happy, and I was like smiling and doing things success. And if in failures, right, I would like worry, and even I'll be in angry mode. I'll be talking to people, saving having the same emotion. But whereas now, I'm having the same I'm facing the similar situation, but in a different time, but slightly harder, I would say. But I am not responding to them, but I'm not immediately reacting to the any situation, but I am responding. I take time now to respond to that. In case, for example, in case of failure in project delivery or in personal, people not understanding what I expect to do, I wait for them. I wait. I analyze the situation and then respond, right? In that way, I'm not immediately showing the anger. My anger level has reduced, and still I'm able to handle the situation with the conscious, with the proper consciousness, I would say. So coming back to the point and putting it short, so even now I have a that egoist thing. Still I have that body. This is my body, but I'm not more of a selfish kind. Though even earlier I was not like selfish. I only need this. I should be top one. others should not be. But right now it's like we have to grow together. We are here, we are connected, and it is same thing. So the way of thinking has changed, so that was leading to a dharmic way of action. So even now I have this body, but the knowledge is changed, right? The way I was before and now. So that's how I want to put in. Maybe I don't know I answered to the point, but that's how I'm.
So yeah, it was. So you meant that because I have the knowledge of the oneness, I feel that we are all one. We have to move together. So because of that, my perspective has changed
Yeah.
towards the work. Okay.
Yes, any situation that I gave her some random example though, but any situation, even talking to people, going to a grocery shop, so that has completely changed now. And I can also see the people we interact, right? They have also changed. I don't know whether they have really changed and it's my perception, but still I can see the situation are slightly better in one ways, in other ways also still they are there, but the steadiness in mind, right, it has improved a lot. That's how I want to put, because as soon as we learn this knowledge, initially I was expecting, hey, everything will be positive towards me, I'll be always blissful, and all the situation will be blissful. That will be the right word. All the situation will be blissful to me, everything will be positive. No, that is not how it works. Situation is going to happen because I have that prarabdha karma, and that's why I'm here, I'm talking to people with the same mindset and thing, and even in the work and in the personal life. But the steadiness is the one I would say, like, because of the knowledge. So we have to be that antakarna, and the chitta should be there to act to people, but with the this knowledge, I would say.
Okay. Thank you. Excellent.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rashita ji. Thank you, Krishna ji. Smita ji, would you like to share your viewpoints about this 5.15? Are you there, Smita ji?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
I cannot see the questions. I'm on. Now it came.
Yeah. You want to see the shloka first of all?
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
So, what is ignorance and whether it is, how do you measure it? Ignorance is, according to me, is simply unawareness. And I do not know, when you say measure here, I see ignorance as something, or unaware, being unaware. I am aware of what I'm aware of. I'm aware of what I'm not aware of. I am unaware of what is I'm unaware. The known unknown and the unknown unknown. Right. So I am aware of, there are a lot of things I don't know or I am unaware. I'm aware that there are many things that I'm unaware of in the universe. There are so many things that we don't even know what we should know about. I don't know if I'm confusing.
No, you're correct.
So that journey between that unaware state to aware state is what we are all searching for. Is it bliss? I'm not going in order of question. Is it okay?
Please feel free to express
Yeah.
yourself based on, the
Yeah.
questions are your
So,
kind of like guidance.
okay. So, is it bliss or mess? And that question very bring a lot of thoughts. Sometimes I believe ignorance is bliss. I mean, there is a saying, right? Ignorance is bliss. It is also very important, and this in my own personal experience that which I feel is I overthink a lot. Right? Of that is also, it is in one sense, the awareness of ignorance helps us to also overcome that overthinking. because you don't know what it is there, but you keep on thinking about it. Oh, what will happen tomorrow? Will this fail? Will it stand on? Will this work? Will this happen? And because we are ignorant to one extent to to be to about it, about what will happen tomorrow. So, and you tend to overthink and cause that misery. Rather, you are aware that just ignore it. That awareness of ignorance also helps to keep the bliss state. So ignorance is bliss. When they say ignorance is bliss, is that awareness of ignorance is bliss. That is what is very important in one sense. When uh, ignore, and when we say ignore, what are we ignoring here? Ignore what is not required. When Keshava is telling Arjuna that we just did shloka 2 in chapter 2, and he says that you are grieving about for things which is unnecessary. You should ignore that. So that awareness that what you should let go or ignore is what will give that bliss. So when I say ignorance is bliss, is in that is, I believe it is in that context that it is truly blissful, that it is needed.
But he did not say simply live in ignorance. He gave some clarity and then he
Correct.
said, drop that, right?
Correct. I mean, so when we say ignorance is bliss, it is misconstrued that that as an English statement you are seeing it. But true ignorance is bliss when you are aware that this must be let go.
Hmm. That there are things that I may not know, and there are things that I may never possibly
No.
know. So I'm okay with it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. That awareness that this is uh, okay. That awareness that there is something that I know, and there is something that I don't know, and being that clarity will is what gives you the uh, sense of calmness.
Okay, wonderful.
Is ego and ignorance related? I am not sure. I mean, Krishnaji answered this elaborately. Um, ego is more. Again, when we say ego, it always is having a negative connotation. No, he has a lot of ego, we will say to a person, right? So, but that is not actually the right way of looking at it. Ego does not necessarily mean, again, it's an English interpretation of or a usage that has made it a negative word, but in itself it is not a negative or a wrong to have ego, because that is uh, a belief. It is a belief in that. What the ignorance of saying that I am fully aware and hence I am supreme, or I am fully aware. Yes, we are part of Paramatma, but there is Paramatma in us. But that it is ignorance which makes us believe that I can do anything. I am that. Uh, and when that awareness comes in, the humility comes in. So it is not ego that is driving it. It is our ignorance that is driving it.
So what are you saying? Are they related, not related?
Ignorance is the root point. I'm saying is the
You're saying.
start. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So ignorance is what driving the ego. Ego in itself is just a state.
So in a way, ego is dependent on ignorance, is what you are saying.
Yes.
Okay.
And so if somebody has the right uh, awareness and is aware, there are people who who's aware that I am, or like say Sadguru or Guruji, they are aware beings, and with that awareness they hold that ego, that I am aware and I would want to share it with others, right? So it is the right ego. There is no wrong in holding that ego or holding that position with they are with that, but when they are fully aware and they hold it with that humbleness. I mean, today also you are taking this class, it is the right ego that I have learned this and I want to share this. Then you are not, it is ನನಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಗೊತ್ತು ಅಂತ, you are not ego from that negative connotation again, but the right mindset, ego confidence is giving you that yes, I have know this knowledge and now I can share it with others. So that is where I'm saying that ego is required because it is a belief. So I you cannot take away ego completely, or we should not give up ego. Otherwise, there is nothing that we will value. That's how I see it.
All right. But we keep saying, no? We keep saying, give up your ego, give up your ego, drop your ego. Even in spiritual, whether it is social circumstance, tumba ego appa, you give up your ego, or in fight between husband and wife, or any people, no, many people say, why drop your ego. So in social circumstance, in spirituality also, one of the common heard phrases, ego is your hurdle, drop your ego and you will find everything.
When we are so, but there is no, when you say drop your ego, it is not something you can just let go, right? It is bring in the awareness. So that is what will make you let that ego, then you will go. So when you bring in the awareness is when you will ego will not just drop. You are that awareness of the true self is what is making will create it. So that is where again the ignorance or the awareness is the root. So so the ego of that I am aware, or like a teacher, right? What will make, if I don't believe that I can teach the children in the class, then how will I proceed? Okay, but having that ego, I am the best teacher, there's nobody like teaching me, that is that is being ignorant. But being aware that yes, I am a teacher, I am qualified to do this job, and I holding it with pride, only then I can contribute. But on the other end, if I'm all let go my ego and say, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ನಾನು ಎಂಥ ಟೀಚರು, ನಂಗೆ ಏನೂ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, that is actually again unawareness. If you don't have that self belief, how will you work? So I am seeing ego in that context. And awareness. So being aware of my strength and knowing that this is and then you putting it to service is equally important. It is like a person who wants to lift let's say a stone. A child will try lifting it because he's unaware that I can lift this. Right? But yes, the day before yesterday, my nephew, my, by relationship, I'm my grandson, I should say. But yeah, so he was running towards the firecrackers because he's unaware that he was so excited seeing that lights and sounds. He was running towards it. But the elder nephew is fully aware that it is smoke and it is disturbing me, and he's closing his ears and standing. See, that because when Krishnaji was saying the same situation about China, India, same situation, but two children, 4 years and 2 years old, how differently they were reacting. But he's unaware of the consequences, or unaware of his own strength of what could, or of his own part of it. So, and we had to literally hold him and bring him back. And whereas this other child is refusing to come near, going like running away from there and closing his ears, and uh, so so it was same situation, but two different part. So in that, and for a third person, as an adult, you are aware that this is fire, or this is, but with safety precaution, I can have fun also, right? So with maintaining the distance, keeping that precautions, I am also lighting the firecracker. I can also enjoy that moment there. So three different people. One is totally aware. One is who's using the awareness not to enjoy. One who's using the awareness to enjoy it safely.
Excellent.
So
Very
I
nice example.
so that's how I'm seeing ego also. How
Mm.
you use it well.
Mm.
That is that awareness that one should be looking at. One should be seeking.
Nice.
That's all I would like to say.
Would you like to comment on the other two also? List of sinful virtuous deeds.
There is, yes, in list of sinful and virtuous deeds, one is of course our the mortal way of classification of, or the worldly way of classification. But what end of day, or what we are through Bhagavad Gita, the message we are giving, what the righteous action that we are performing is what we should look at. By the same logic of where Krishna is telling Arjuna that you are grieving people who are already on the path of dharma, and you are only actually establishing dharma by killing them. It is so it is, hence it is not sinful, right? So this debate about always about, oh, Krishna told people to die, to kill. How can you say that? But it is not about killing, but it is about liberating, or making them also aware of their in way. But that their way of making them aware is in a very different approach, right? Somebody will learn by doing, somebody will learn by reading, somebody may learn by performing some activity. So this to bring awareness to those beings also who are very extremely unaware, you may want to take some critical measures. That is how Sri Krishna has said that you have to do it. For people who already know, they don't uh, uh, for or people who are closer, or have better understanding, the way they apply, the way it may be different. So in that sense, there is no differentiation in it is the only way is the righteous way. Rest, uh, but in our worldly way, there is no the right thing, or like say what you say, rob the rich and share with the poor. Is it dharma then? Is it the right way of doing things? But by uh, our logic, he's robbing, he's a thief, so he's wrong in his approach. So is he doing a virtuous deed by doing a sinful deed?
Hmm.
So can we distinguish it? So I mean, I'm putting that
What's your viewpoint? So essentially, what you are saying is the society viewpoint of sin and virtuous is not necessarily what Sri Krishna's viewpoint of sin and virtuous is. Is that what you're saying?
yes. The society's viewpoints of sin and virtues is very much required to keep ourselves in certain boundaries or guardrails, right? To drive a society or an army or even in a household, for people living, if everybody is coming going, there is no discipline. Does not mean Shri Krishna is saying that don't have discipline, but here uh, uh, when the extreme measure happens, and Sri Krishna is not also advising that there is no way it is saying that for every, you can take any way to achieve the goal. It is not that. When extreme problems require extreme measures, right? So it is more from that he is saying. He's not saying every day to lead a life like this. There are how they say this, people can do penance, or you can do by service, by bhakti bhav. So you have different ways of achieving awareness, right? But here it is say telling to get rid of ignorance or the way, or Shri Krishna is saying there are different ways of doing it. This is even to get some Duryodhana who has completely lost by killing his, or by fighting the battle. You are bringing him back to awareness. For him, he is an extreme case of treatment for the patient. But for different cases, you don't need such extreme case.
So you are saying that the sinful or virtuous classification is needed for certain situations, and for certain situations it is not needed. Is that the viewpoint you're bringing?
No, it is for, this is a worldly view of classification, is what I'm saying.
Okay. But when Sri Krishna says here in the shloka, when you notice the shloka, Sri Krishna is saying the omnipresent God does not involve himself
Correct.
in the sinful or virtuous deeds of anyone.
Yeah, so that is what I'm saying. It is a worldly view. It is the human living entity's view of sinful and virtuous deed.
Uh,
God is omnipresent. He's always there with you. Whether you're doing sinful deed or virtuous deed, He's always there with you. Because you are unaware that, how I have to, how I am unaware that, at that moment, from moment to moment, it is my unawareness. Or even if this pen is always there, it was always there. It is I am more unaware that the pen is lying there, and then I'm searching everywhere and fighting with everybody. Where you kept it? Where you kept it? Why is it there? And all. It is my unawareness that is causing it. So in that is what. But that's why I'm saying this is our classification as sinful and virtuous deed. God is with you in every omnipresent, but you are unaware and hence you are performing. If you were aware, you wouldn't have taken that action, or you would have taken that action. You would have taken different action.
I have a question. So when you said that there is an extreme condition, I mean, how can we even be aware that this is an extreme condition? And even in Bhagavad Gita, what Sri Krishna says, go and kill them because they have. I mean, the sin should be destroyed, right? So, what is the measure, or what will give me that awareness that yes, this is the right action which I am taking, and this is not the right action which I'm taking? How can we differentiate that?
Smitaji, is the question clear?
No, okay, I thought the question is for you.
You can first share your viewpoint. I'll also share.
How can we be aware whether our action is Correct or not? Is that what Shilpaji is asking?
Yes, yes, Ji.
And then that is where our consciousness comes in, right? That tells us whether I am on the right path or not. It is like if I am driving, again, my answer, please don't. If I'm driving down a road and suddenly you'll see a lot of trees, and you say, hey, nenne ikade bandaga, this was not here, then you realize you are on a, maybe you've taken a wrong route or a wrong turn, in a new place when you are going. So it gives you, you get a sense that something is not okay. That consciousness is what will drives one to believe that what I am doing is, again, there is a the society's bindings, awareness of that, the rule of law is one which is also we are made aware of, and the other is your own consciousness which is guiding you to say that this is the right path or not. That's what I would believe.
In the same driving example, G, let's say I am driving with my family, in, let's say, in car, and there is a small animal which is crossing the road, and if I hit the animal, then I can save my family. If I try to save the animal, then there are more chances that I will hit something and damage, my family gets killed. Let's say this is the situation. How do I analyze uh, which action should I take? I mean, when you said consciousness, obviously I will get inclined because that aham, my family that is there with me. But is it okay to take that action to save at the cost of killing an animal in this case? I mean, just as an example, I'm giving.
Actually, I mean, I have been in many driving situations. Our mind does not work like that. Again, this is my personal belief. The first thing that actually happens is you try to save the animal. You never see you're hopefully with driving safely with seat belt and all. But first is always our mind works with avoiding the obstacle. It always, you will brake first, you will try to sever first. Most unfortunate incidents happen because they try to avoid the dog, and then they sever to the left and right and hit something, and bad, worse happens. Our mind does not work that at that mode of that, I have, it is always what is in front of you only that you will avoid it immediately. In that fraction of a second, you will not think of all the four people in the car and okay, what I should do first. That precaution we should have taken earlier by making sure everybody is wearing seat belt and and whatever. But when you're driving forward, you will always look at the obstacle and you'll hit the brake or try to avoid it. This is at least my own driving experience. At that fraction, it is always going to be what is in front of you that you will avoid.
So even in this case, let's say because of that action I have taken, I've made my family members lose their lives. Let's say that situation. So what should I measure? I mean, what should I consider? I mean, which action is better? I mean, is there a measure to it? That is what I'm curious to know.
The measure to it. You have done the action. You are not, see, okay, you are not in once the measure is not, oh, I saved the life of the dog or saved the life of the passengers. The measure is not that, but it is the right action you took, which is to put the brake, to severe, to move to the side, is what you have done. That is the action best known to you at that, what you were conscious of, and best known to you at that possible time you have done. Like a doctor, it is like saying no, end of day, the doctor is putting their best to save the patient, but that does not happen. The doctor has done the best possible treatment. So, but if you are going to judge yourself by that and saying that because of this, I have so many patients have died over the years, and you are not valuing the life, or you're saying, okay, the passenger passed away, but the dog survived and dog is of lesser value and human life is of more value, you are agonizing and yourself by doing that. I did the best possible action at that time, uh, at that moment, and it is what one should think of. It's very difficult. It's extremely difficult to do that. But otherwise, you will grieve for the one will grieve for the rest of their life thinking in that way, because we have now valued the dog lesser and the human life more, and hence we are grieving it in that way. But yes, when it is a own family member, it is very difficult to give up that thought. But that is what God is saying. We just read Vasam Shijirnani Yatha Vihaya. So when you look at it with full awareness, I did the best possible action at that time to save both my family and the dog, and not cause a accident. But in that process, all of these things happened.
Yeah, thank you, Ji.
I don't know if I could.
Very nice. Very nice viewpoint, Smitaji. Anything more you would like to add, Smitaji?
No, Vijayji, I'd like to know your response also to what Shilpaji asked, but yeah, after you complete this.
Sure. So now let us first begin with the simple question: what, in any topic, what is of importance? So what is ignorance? Like how all of you put it, I don't know something is what I generally label as ignorance. Now, what is that I don't know in life? I don't know about so many things. Like how Smitaji already classified, in terms of the knowledge, right? In terms of the knowledge itself, there are some things that I think I know. If somebody asks, okay, what is this object? I think I know, I'll answer, oh, it's a mobile. So why I am answering like that? Because I think I know. So about something like this. Then, if let's say there's a new object in front of me, as an example, let's say there's a new object in front of me, and somebody asks, what is this object? I know there is a new object, and now I cannot pick an answer from my mind because I don't know the name of this. So I say, I don't know. But in this case, I know that I don't know. So this is a second example, the second group of knowledge that Smitaji also pointed at. And the third group of knowledge that Smitaji pointed at is that something in life I don't even know that I don't know. If I have never been to Himalayas and I've never seen a picture of Himalayas, nobody has spoken about Himalayas around me, then that is the third category of knowledge. I'm ignorant of that also. But I'm not even knowing that I'm ignorant of that. I'm ignorant of my ignorance itself, right? Like that, there are three groups of knowledge. Something that I think I know, something that I think I don't know, something that I don't even know that I don't know. Among these three, needless to say, the third group, what I don't know, that I don't know, is largest, isn't it? Because if you look at it in terms of life, in terms of the what we call as world, how many types of knowledge is there? So many types of knowledge is there. There is knowledge about food, knowledge about music, knowledge about physics, chemistry, biology, yada 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 yada, right? Knowledge about herbs, knowledge about movement. So many topics are there. So some topics, at least I know a little bit. Maybe, some of you may say, I'm very good at South Indian vegetarian cooking. But if I ask you, do you know how to make North Indian vegetarian food? Somewhat. How about Chinese vegetarian food? Oh, not really sure. I don't know. So like that, there is in any sphere of knowledge, there is something that, we feel, yeah, I know. Something that we feel, I know it is there, but I'm not very sure of that, So I don't know. Second category, right? But if I say, do you know that you don't actually need to eat food in order to survive? Some people can actually survive without eating any food, that you don't even need food. That knowledge may be totally unknown to you until somebody prompted, right? It's in the third category. Like that, now if you examine what I don't know that I don't know, if you really think about it, if you think about the knowledge in the universe as infinite, the knowledge in the universe is not finite. Knowledge in the universe is infinite. As you keep on learning about stars, there is some other star to learn about. As you keep on going about mathematics, there is something more to know in mathematics. In any topic of life, if you think, there is something more to know. It is therefore very appropriate to say knowledge itself is infinite. So if the set of knowledge is infinite, then what I know and what I know I don't know must be relatively small compared to what I don't even know that I don't know. So, in a way, among the infinite set of knowledge, what I don't know, I don't even know, is largest. Means what? My ignorance is largest. Most of us have a pride about knowledge. I know so much. But if you truly examine, my ignorance is largest. I don't even know so many things I don't even know. So therefore, in a way, if you think in terms of a person, a person's ignorance is largest. But somehow we seem to be very proud of the knowledge, right? So when I truly realize that my ignorance is largest, I cannot but be truly humble, because when I am at least aware that I'm ignorant, then I can truly listen, truly know. When I say I don't know, it opens up a possibility of knowing. When I am simply proud of my knowledge, I know. As soon as, in some cases, you might have seen, as soon as somebody goes to say something, the other person stops, I know already. So it's like that wonderful Zen story, Some student went to a master and said, I've read these books. He gave a list of all the books he has read. And somebody told me that you're a very wise guru, and I've come to learn what is that I don't already know from any of these books. Can you teach me? And that guru said, come here, sit. He was having tea. Come here, sit. He gave him a cup of tea, a cup and the teapot, and said, start pouring. Until I say stop, keep on pouring. So he kept on pouring. He thought that as it came to the brim, he would say stop. But the guru did not say stop. He continued to pour. And because he had said, continue to pour, he kept on pouring. Of course, it started overflowing. He continued to pour. After a while, he couldn't. He stopped. He said, look, it's overflowing. Can you not say stop? Guru said, when the cup is full, how can I put anything more in that cup? So how can I teach you something when you already know so much? So like that, in life, many a times, my pride of my knowledge becomes my bottleneck to know truly. To know truly means what? To know truly that I don't know so many things. First level. So like that, when we look at life, there is so much of ignorance. But there is fundamental ignorance which makes me suffer in life. See, for example, if let's say I'm living in a place and I am having food, clothes, shelter, and people, everything is going okay. And somewhere there is a place called Himalayas, and there is a big mountain called Mount Everest. Let's say I don't know. Now, that one doesn't cause any kind of a direct suffering in my life. I don't know about Himalayas because I don't even know that it exists in this example, but it is not causing any direct suffering in my life. Somebody comes and says, "Do you know Mount Everest?" I simply stare at them. I say, "What is it?" They say, "It's the tallest mountain." Oh, okay. But in terms of quality of my day to day life, that ignorance that Mount Everest is the tallest mountain hasn't directly impacted me, hasn't directly caused any kind of a grievance. That other person, if that other person says, "Don't you know this much also? You know which is the tallest mountain? Don't you know this much also?" If I take offense to, "Don't you know this much also?" then I am suffering in life. So, not knowing about something has caused a sense of, "Oh, this person is better, I am lesser." Now, see that comparison came, right? This person is better, I am lesser. This comparison, and due to this comparison, I feeling I must be not knowledgeable, I am very ignorant, I am a illiterate fellow. Many of us, especially in the society, you will see if they cannot speak English, they feel very low. ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ ಬರಲ್ವಾ, ಅಯ್ಯಯ್ಯೋ, ವೆರಿ ಲೋ. ಬರೆಯಕ್ ಬರಲ್ವಾ, ಅಯ್ಯಯ್ಯೋ, ವೆರಿ ಲೋ. ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ನಾಟ್ ರೆಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಬುಕ್, ಅಯ್ಯಯ್ಯೋ, ವೆರಿ ಲೋ. Especially in corporate environments, what management books you have read, there is a tendency to quote this book by Elon Musk. Everybody wants to quote Elon Musk. This book by Elon Musk, or this book by Steve Jobs. So quoting somebody's knowledge and claiming that somehow feels superior. And the person who has not read that book feels inferior. So now the question is the superiority or the inferiority, is it because I don't know about Mount Everest, or I did not know about Mount Everest? When you examine this question a little deeply, the feeling of inferiority is coming fundamentally because not that I did not know about Mount Everest, because there is something else that I'm not aware of, which is fundamental to knowing about Mount Everest. I'm ignorant of some other more fundamental aspect. Because of that, this ignorance is coming that I'm inferior. So what is causing the feeling of inferiority? I am not knowledgeable, I am lesser. So who has become lesser in that particular situation? There is a concept that I'm holding in my mind that I am something, right? I am, maybe, let's say in this example, I am a person, and let's say I am the head of the family, and I'm safeguarding my family, and I have food, shelter, everything, right? Who am I? I am the head of this family. And when somebody came and said, "Don't you know about Mount Everest?" What caused the feeling of inferior? This head of the family, who is so far protecting all these family members, doesn't know something. This head suddenly became small. Why? Something is not known, something I'm not able to answer. So who is not able to answer? Someone who used to be told as head, because everybody in the family would come to this head of the family and say, Appa or Amma, I don't know this. Can you help me with this? I don't know how to put the button. I am knowledgeable how to put the button. Amma, Appa, I don't know how to write. I know, I'm knowledgeable how to write. So this person, the idea of the person that I've created in my mind, that is what we refer as, in English, ego, or in Sanskrit, ahankara, aham akara, my shape, aham akara. That is the right way to understand this. Ahankara is neither pride nor inferiority nor superiority. It is simply aham akara, ahankara, my shape. So the shape that I'm carrying in my mind is I'm a head of the family. And everybody has come to me so far for their advice. And I've been able to help them. I know. Now, that aham akara, I am the head of the family, has led to development of a pride that I know. That is separate from ahankara. There is a concept called as pride that I've developed. I know. So, ahankara, I'm head of the family. That is to help me function. And ahankara, the pride of the knowledge. I know, I have solved all the problems. That pride. Now, that pride got insulted, that pride got deflated when somebody pointed out, don't you know this much also? Don't you know about Mount Everest? What are you going to teach your children? So far, the head of the family had the pride that I'm safeguarding my family. But suddenly it got deflated. It got deflated, saying, don't you know this much also? So, ignorance of something caused a feeling of low. But is it truly ignorance of Mount Everest that is causing that feeling low? That is the fundamental question that we do not answer. We generally run towards, oh, I have to become knowledgeable about Mount Everest. I start reading about Mount Everest. Then I say, now I can also answer about Mount Everest. You'd call me ignorant. Now I am fully knowledgeable. Oh, I know about the height of Mount Everest. I know where is Mount Everest. I can see how many people have climbed Mount Everest. So now I've increased my knowledge about Mount Everest. But has it truly removed my suffering? No. If somebody comes and says about Mount Everest, I can answer. Now I feel. But if somebody comes and asks me about Mount Kilimanjaro, again, down. Why? Because now I removed the ignorance about Mount Everest, but I have not yet removed a fundamental ignorance. A fundamental ignorance which is causing me to feel high or low, inflated or deflated, proud or feeling kind of inferior. I have not yet removed. I have not yet removed that ignorance. So therefore, our great masters, Sri Krishna is pointing at remove the fundamental ignorance. See, to know about everything in life is impossible because knowledge in life is infinite. I may know a little more about Mount Everest, but I will still be ignorant about Mount Kilimanjaro. Or I may be totally ignorant about some mountain that I may not even know exists in Africa. So therefore, it is impossible for me to be knowledgeable about all the things in life. But I can be completely aware about one thing, which is causing me to feel inferior or superior, high or low. I can get rid of that ignorance. I can get rid of my suffering. The suffering due to one fundamental ignorance. Why did I feel inferior when somebody pointed out, don't you know about Mount Everest? That is because who I thought I am, that got deflated. So the ignorance about me, I can completely examine and get rid of. That removal of that ignorance is a fundamental removal of ignorance, which then helps me to be okay with not knowing something. When I don't know something, a little child is not going to sit and cry. A little baby, when it doesn't know, it simply asks, I don't know. What is it? If a new object comes in front of the baby, do you know what is this, baby? The baby says, I don't know. Can you tell me what it is? Baby is able to engage in a learning activity. Why? Because the baby knows that it can learn. It has the capacity to learn. It has infinite capacity to learn. And the baby has no concept of the pride of itself. You know how knowledgeable I am? That pride it doesn't have. It has not developed that yet. It is not out of clarity of who I am. It may be, maybe not. In that baby, it is because of innocence. But in you and me also, the same baby-like quality is there when you and I examine who I am truly. I am truly this awareness which can light, I know something, which can light, I don't know something, which can also light this bigger ignorance, which is I am aware that I'm not aware of so many things. As awareness, I have the infinite capacity to be aware of all the three. In a way, by being aware that I'm aware that there is so many things that I'm unaware, I've become aware of that infinite unawareness also. So in that sense, I'm now fully aware. And I'm fully aware of all the three categories of knowledge. I'm aware and I am of the quality of awareness. I'm not this nose, eyes. I'm not this body. I'm not the concept that I'm carrying that I'm head of the family. I'm not that concept also. What has led to that examination? A fundamental question about who I am. A ignorance that I'm carrying about myself. When I remove that ignorance helps me to then function freely in life. So what Sri Krishna, what Sadguru, what all the great masters have been pointing at is to remove that ignorance. Removal of my ignorance about myself doesn't necessarily automatically make me aware of Mount Kilimanjaro. I still have to make a effort-oriented approach to learn about Mount Kilimanjaro. But now I can make an effort to learn even when somebody says, don't you know Kilimanjaro? I don't have to get upset or feel inferior or superior. Why? Because there is a fundamental awareness that I am not being insulted. I have the capacity to know. I have the capacity to know whatever I put my mind towards. I can direct my mind to learn about Mount Kilimanjaro. Is that important for me to know? Then I will know. Is it not important? Then I'm okay to confess that I don't know about Mount Kilimanjaro, but I'm okay with not knowing, without feeling either superior or inferior, without feeling sorry for myself. So that is what removal of fundamental ignorance gives you and me. A capacity to function without either inflating myself or deflating myself. Because this awareness of who I am truly helps me become aware that the ahankara is temporary. Like how all of you pointed at, that ahankara is a temporary phenomena. You're not always a teacher, you're not always a student, you're not always a mother, not always a sister. In a given circumstance, you can take a role. Ahankara, I can play that role. But do I need to have pride about some knowledge that I carry while I'm playing that role? Not necessary. However, if it is necessary to exhibit pride, see, there is a difference between exhibiting pride and possessed by pride. I am very proud of my culture. I'm very proud of my country. I'm very proud of my family. I'm proud of my bhasha. Is different from, you know how great my bhasha is. You know how great my family is, that is possessed by pride. Having pride, like how Smitaji said, is important, because then you can see one thing, how in life, when you are functioning in life, how one thing is actually better. My bhashe, Kannada, Samskrita is actually indeed better when it comes to precisely give you feeling of a particular object, much better than English. In English, word and meaning are disassociated. You have to say a word and you have to put a meaning, infuse meaning. Then only it comes alive. Whereas my bhashe, that the bhashe that I am brought up with, Kannada or Samskrita, the word and the feeling are simultaneous. That's the beauty of my language. So it helps me to become aware, not to put English down, is to say what is the qualitative difference between English and Sanskrit. So when can I learn more and more of Sanskrit? When I actually feel, oh, it is so wonderful, it is so better than other language. So in a way, it builds pride, but it's not a ego-oriented pride. It is pride of, wow, I am getting an opportunity to now become aware of such wonderful knowledge. What a fantastic knowledge. That knowledge helps me to uncover so many aspects of life itself. So, like that, now I can use pride to function properly in life, not to put somebody else down, but to feel how what I'm learning is valuable. See, only when what you are learning is valuable would you continue. Otherwise, you cannot continue. So, like that, when I make a fundamental examination of who I am, remove my fundamental ignorance of who I am about that aspect, that leads to, in a way, complete knowledge. Not that complete knowledge means that I now can speak everything about every other object. No, it helps me function in life with the humility. It helps me function in life without any comparison. I don't have to now feel high or low. And that brings me to the last point that Shilpaji asked. In that situation, when I'm aware that I'm of the nature of awareness, and the dog is of the nature of awareness, the family members that are sitting are of the nature of awareness. So, in a fundamental way of looking at life, which form of awareness is more valuable? It all is a contextual answer, isn't it? However, that is where a dharma has to be used in a contextual way, which is what Sri Krishna is teaching Arjuna. Arjuna, you are now possessed by the dharma of your family. My friends, my relatives, my tata. But what about your dharma towards your society? Which dharma is bigger? Which dharma is bigger, Arjuna? Like that, in any given situation, depending upon the role that you are playing, you have a dharma, and there may be conflicting dharmas to protect this or that. A soldier who's standing to protect the country, he also has a family to protect. His own family, his family needs him, but he's willing to, for the dharma of the protecting country, he's willing to let go of my family not having me as the father or the mother. He's willing to sacrifice. And that sacrifice is coming out of a greater awareness. So, what Sri Krishna is therefore prompting you and me is, when you and I are playing roles, the roles have different spheres of dharma. Your dharma as a mother is there, but in a given context, you may also have the dharma of a caregiver to a larger family that may not be biologically related to you. Which dharma then should you protect? The dharma of my own family, which is biologically related to me, or dharma of my larger family. Which dharma should I give importance to? So as one starts getting established and becomes truly peaceful, in that peaceful mind, in any given situation, an answer emerges, and that answer is usually in the larger dharma. The action will be oriented towards bringing harmony in the larger context. So the window of analyzing that action will be modified. That is what Sri Krishna is offering to Arjuna. Arjuna, this war you have to fight. You may have to kill your brothers, sisters, or whoever it is. But look at what is that you are doing by that. You are establishing an order in the society that the king is not at all worried about his own family, but is upholding righteousness for in the larger society. When yogi is not worried about what my sister is doing for earning, our yogi in UP, his own sister is living in shambles. Somebody took a video of his sister living in shambles, living in a pittance, and somebody asked, "Your own sister, at least you can take care of her, no good or a good job, no." He says, "Then what about my other sisters in this society? Which sister should I care for? If I start caring for my own this sister, which is my larger responsibility?" That is what you need in a leader, isn't it? So like that, he is establishing the right thinking by encouraging Arjuna to wage this war. So like that, your and my action also starts becoming clearer when I have no attachment to my own ego. Only when I'm attached to my ego, when an action has happened, I lament, did I do the right thing, wrong thing, right thing, wrong thing. When I have no attachment to the ego, to the role that I'm playing, I know which role to play. I know which role to give importance to. And I know that I am not the role at all. And I am that light which is simply shining on this role and that role. I am actually, in a way, Brahmakara Vritti means I am the infinite role. In that infinite role, I can play any finite role. And I know that any finite role has a finite impact. Any role that I play, as a mother, when I'm cooking food, in a way, I'm causing the destruction of another form of life. Whether I call myself as a vegetarian or non-vegetarian, at the end of the day, in a final analysis, it is still causing destruction of one form over another form. I want to feed this form, my family. So therefore, I'm letting go of this form called vegetables or whatever it may be. So in that way of functioning, if I start getting attached to which form should I give importance to, without awareness of the larger picture of the existence, that is when I get into suffering. Ayo, is vegetarianism is also harmful? That is how some questions come, no? Vegetarianism is also you're killing life. Like that, then it leads to an analysis paralysis. Analysis paralysis is which role? Because I have not yet seen the larger context of life. So what Sri Krishna is removing within you and me is who I am fundamentally, giving the larger context of life, the context in which you are performing the given role. That way, you can play the role with complete humility. Because at the end of the analysis, if you really think about it, like how Smitaji said, when you take any action, it is with the best intent, with the best knowledge that you think you possess at that point in time. As a mother, when you scold your child, it is not for the detriment of the child. In that moment, as a mother, you felt scolding is the right action. You cannot later on sit and lament about why did I scold, why did I scold, why did I scold. If the scolding was not the right action afterwards, when you come to know about it, realize that, okay, there may be a better way of functioning. That's the opportunity that Sri Krishna is giving you and me by bringing this knowledge. So let me stop here. Are there any questions or are there any statements? Shilpaji, has all of this brought clarity?
Yes, Vijayji, very much. Thank you.
Smitaji, is there anything that you would like to say or add?
No, Vijay, I think very well explained.
All right. Padma Amma, Rajitaji, Krishnaji?
Very nice examples, Vijayji. Like taking care of my sister and taking care of the sisters of our country. So that is the takeaway for me. Vyashti and Samashti. Vyashti is to my individual, Samashti to the entire benefit, for the benefit of the universe, for the benefit of the sisters of our country, what I can do, or for the benefit of my only the one sister, what I can do. That is a very nice point. So then it is very, if you have that viewpoint, it's very easy for us to decide that Viveka Jagrati happens very easily. The discrimination between what is the right action for this moment will be very clear. We will not have any kind of confusions or dualities. So thank you. That is a takeaway for me.
Thank you, Ji. Krishnaji or Padma Amma, is there anything more from your side?
No.
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಲಾರಿಟಿ ಇತ್ತು. ಅದೇ ಹೇಗೆ ಅದು ಉನ್ನತ ಧರ್ಮವನ್ನ ಎತ್ತಿ ಹಿಡಿಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಯಾವ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ್ರೂ ಅರ್ಜುನ ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಲೇ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆನೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ನಾವು ಪರಿಪಾಲಿಸೋದು ಹಾಗೇನೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾನೆ, ಅವನು ಮನೆಯದನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಾ ಅಥವಾ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಇದ್ದನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಾ? ಹಾಗೆ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಸರಿಯಾದ ಧರ್ಮ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಉನ್ನತವಾದ ಧರ್ಮ ಯಾವುದು ಅದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಗ್ನೊರೆನ್ಸ್ ಹಾಗೆ, ನಾನು ಮೊದಲು ನನಗೆ ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಅವಿದ್ಯೆ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ಯಾವ್ದ್ರಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ತೆಗ್ದು ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ನಿಜ ಸ್ವರೂಪವನ್ನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದಷ್ಟು ಕಥೆಯನ್ನೇ ಸ್ಫುರಣೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಾನು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕರ್ತೃತ್ವ ಭಾವನೂ ಇರಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಪೂರ್ತಿಯಾಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಅದು ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ಕ್ಲಾರಿಟಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಮೊದಲು ಡೌಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಹೇಗೆ ತರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ.
Wonderful, Amma. Agli. Hagadre, let us end our today's contemplation. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu.
Vijayji, sorry, I had a question, but before that you said...
No, please. No worries, please. Go ahead.
ಸರ್, ನಂಗೆ ಇದೇನೋ ಫೋನಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಕಷ್ಟ. ಏನೋ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟರಲ್ಲಿ. ಇದು ಅಬೌಟ್ ignorance and ego.
Yeah.
To which we were that question which even Krishna ji and I answered, which is leading to which, or which is
Ego is a fundamental aspect of life. Ahankara is a fundamental aspect of life.
Yes.
Energy takes various forms. Okay? Energy takes various forms. And what is ego? Is just a name given to a form. What is this? Pouch. But fundamentally, what is this pouch? We have seen this examination. Fundamentally, it is energy. What is this? It is mobile. What is it fundamentally? It is energy. Likewise, what is this body? Fundamentally energy. But I have developed a concept that it's man and I am this, right? That is ignorance.
Understood. Okay.
Fundamentally, I am a man and I am this is the fundamental ignorance. I am the light that is lighting this. And in this light of awareness, there is a labeling happening to this as pouch, labeling happening to this as mobile, labeling happening to this as man's body. Like that, there is a subtle body. Who am I functioning as of now? Somebody who is in the Gita Satsanga. When you are outside of Gita Satsanga, maybe a mother or a sister. Now that mother or sister is something that is not visible to the naked eyes or the physical eyes. That mother or sister is a concept in the mind, but that is also kind of like a deha. So you as awareness, you are aware that you are the one who's functioning as mother, sister, brother, boss, yada, yada, yada. As this little body, big body, small body. Sometimes, I say my body has become tired. You are aware of all these changes that are happening in variations of energy. So fundamentally, therefore, what is ego or ahankara? Fundamentally, ahankara is energy taking some form and the tendency of the mind to put a label to it, to give a name to it. So, does ahankara truly exist? If you ask that fundamental question, ahankara does not exist. In what sense? As a limited shape and form. Ahankara, right? Aham akara. Ahamkara, as a pouch, as a mobile, as a body, there's a limited akara. But there is a unlimited akara. It's incorrect to say it's a akara, but in this manner of speaking, there's an unlimited akara. As awareness, I am of the size of infinite. And infinite cannot be of a concept in the mind, right? So, but to understand, I'm saying, I am of the size of infinite. So then I am everything. But I myself don't have a boundary. I myself don't have a boundary. That is a infinite ego. Infinite ego means what? It's a zero ego. Means what? Everything else is included in me. I care not only for my biological sister, I also care for all the other sisters, because it's a good thing to do, because that is the reality. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is not it's a very good idea, Hari. It's a very good idea to live like this world as a family. No, not because it's a very good idea, because that is the reality. This entire world is indeed my family. So that is a Brahmakara Vritti. Meaning what? A Brihad Akara Vritti. A infinite ego. That is also liberation.
Well explained. Very well explained.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ji. Hari Om. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.